Hey everybody, and welcome back to a fun edition with Book Club with Dark Jessie. And today we are going to continue our Ordinary People Change the World series with I Am Jim Henson. Now, I actually read this book to the preschoolers earlier, and they had never heard who the Muppets were. Crazy, right? Well, hopefully you guys do a little bit better knowing some of these characters. Are you guys ready? Let's go. I am Jim Henson. Oh, good, you're here. What's the fun of a story if you don't have anyone to share it with? Growing up in Mississippi, I used to love to watch birds. I even made my own book, where I'd list each bird I saw and add my own drawings. That bird up there is my favorite, the blackbird. Blackbirds have fun personalities, and I also love their other name, the grackle. Don't you just love funny names like that? My whole life, I loved kooky words. Want to know what else I loved? Laughing. As a kid, this was one of my family's favorite jokes. My mom used to play it on my brother and me. Say when. Gee, that's enough. Mom, that's enough, Mom! You didn't say when. She overflowed the bowl of cereal with milk because they didn't say when, huh? At 8 years old, I'd come here to the movie theater. Every Saturday, this was my favorite place. For 15 cents, I could get a bag of popcorn and spend the whole day watching cartoons and newsreels, action movies, and comedies. My favorite were the ones with wild clothing and far-off locations, like the Old West or foreign countries. Could you guys believe going to the movies for 15 cents? That's insane. For the rest of the week, my friends and I would recreate what we saw in the movies, using homemade props and costumes. Look, the great snake charmer. Look, a star tattoo. Cork cut like a star, then charred black. The star tattoo that the bad guy had in the movie. With a little imagination, we started pretending there was no limit to what we could create. My grandparents played a big role in my life. I got my middle name, Murray, from my grandfather, who loved to laugh too, but he never laughed at anyone, never made fun of people. As for my grandmother, she was my best audience. When she'd come to visit, we would use paint, glue, crayons to make the most amazing art projects. She was the one who encouraged me to draw things that made me happy. Monsters with giant mouths and birds with big eyes. Ta-da! I adore it, Jimmy. Now tell me a story about each of those creatures. A big bird with big eyes. I wonder who he could be talking about. Those days with my grandmother changed my life. She encouraged me to tell stories. She supported my love of reading, and she was amazing with a needle and thread. She could sew anything. What is that? It's a coat made out of an army blanket. Like it? Gee, I really do. But the most important thing she taught me was that my imagination, I could do anything. I could be anything, including a performer. One night during a skit in Cub Scouts, I had one of my friends stand in front of everyone with his hands behind his back. Then I put my hands in, and what's so funny? I'm being serious here. I can still hear the crowd laughing. I always loved a good performance. Growing up, I listened to shows on the radio, like Green Hornet, The Shadow, and one of my favorite comedians, a ventriloquist named Edgar Bergen. Even though Edgar Bergen did the voices, I never thought Charlie McCarthy or any of his other characters were puppets. They were human to me. His work was magic in a real sense. It seemed impossible. That's what magic is. It creates wonder. It creates dreams that inspire. I'd seen their pictures in newspapers, but here with each show, an ordinary object came to life. Once upon a time, long, long ago. Funny, nothing ever happens nowadays. Something happened when Edgar spoke through Charlie. The puppeteer wasn't just sharing jokes. He was sharing the best parts of himself, and people were listening. When I was 13, a new technology changed my life. At a friend's house, I saw an invention called television. You have a television? Yeah, we just got it. Ain't it cool? Can we get a TV? Can we get a TV? Can we get a TV? You can stop, please. Sure. Now can we get a TV? I wouldn't give up. Soon my parents gave in. Think about how cool that would be to have one of the first TVs ever made. On TV, I found comedians like Sid Caesar, Milton Berle, and Jack Benny. One of my favorites was Ernie Kovacs, who tilted the camera and set so everything slid sideways. I especially loved variety shows, which had big casts that would sing, dance, and do comedy. And there was Kukla, Fran and Ollie, a show where puppets made jokes and sang with a human co-star. The way they talked to each other, it was like those puppets were alive. Right away, I knew one thing. I wanted to work in TV. At 16 years old, I went looking for a job at the local TV station. Sorry, kid, sorry, kid, sorry, kid. There has to be another place that'll hire me. They all said no. But like the time I begged my dad for a TV, I never gave up. Soon after, a local station announced it was looking for a puppeteer. I never used a puppet before, but my whole life I loved creating. This was the job I wanted. So how did I get it? The same way you get any dream, hard work. I went to my high school library, took out books on puppetry, built a few puppets, and went back to the station. Now I'm a puppeteer. Will you hire me? They gave me a chance, and that's all I needed. Was my first show a success? No, it was canceled. But did I give up? Not a chance. My partner and I continued creating, continued working hard, and eventually we got our own 5 minutes before The Tonight Show. Along the way, we came up with a name for our characters. We called them Muppets, playing around with the word puppet. But really, it was just a fun word, like grackle. By the way, this is Jane. She worked on the shows with me. We're going to get married one day. Wait, what? Huh? We get married? Don't ruin the ending. Our show was called Sam and Friends. We needed a new puppet, and the answer was right in plain sight. I was 18 years old and found my mother's old wool coat. I cut it apart and sewed a new body. My grandmother taught me that one. I gave it a pointed face. I glued on the halves of a ping pong ball for eyes, and then I became the one who performed his voice. Yes, he was turquoise back then. He wasn't even a frog, but he did have a name. Kermit. With each show, I kept inventing new characters, dreaming up new ways to make people laugh. On TV, unlike a puppet stage, there was no walls, so we could film our Muppets from far away, or bring them really close for an easy laugh. And while old-fashioned puppets had frozen expressions, our Muppets had faces that could move. We could do faces that were funny, angry, or even sad. To make our Muppets seem even more real, we crossed their eyes slightly. This gave them focus. Now they started to come alive. But do you want to know my real secret? Practice. We would practice in a mirror over and over until it was just right. The only way people would feel a sense of wonder was if we give each character a life of its own. Let's do it again, fellas. This is Jerry, who writes for the Muppets. Don, who helps build the puppets. and Frank Oz, who would be the voice and performer of Grover, and even Yoda. What? Yoda. We did commercials and performed on other shows, but like so much of life, it was all just training for our next adventure. All right, Frank Oz, right there, guys. He is awesome. Check him out. Google him. The two TV producers named Joan Cooney and John Stone were about to give me the opportunity of a lifetime. We want to create a show that will change the lives of children, especially those whose families don't have a lot of opportunities. We want a show that can help them to learn to read and count. I wonder what show it is. It can be funny, right? They even had a name for it. What show do you guys think it is? Sesame Street. Since kids loved the Muppets, we built Muppets who can interact directly with kids. We began with a big yellow bird who was a child himself. That's me, I'm Big Bird. And then we added a grouchy green monster named Oscar. They know who I am. On November 10th, 1969, the first episode aired, and it was a smash hit. Do you guys see all the Muppets? There's Big Bird and Snuffy and Oscar, and there's the Count, and there's Grover, Bert and Ernie. I don't know the dog's name. Cookie Monster. I mean, come on. Those are some pretty cool Muppets right there. Every episode, Sesame Street taught the ABCs. C is for cookie, yum, yum, yum. And 1, 2, 3s, that's 4. 4 beautiful bats. It was one of the first shows to have kids of different races playing and learning together. It taught kids how to share, how to take turns, and how to get along. Certainly, with all its zany creatures, it made us laugh. But at its best, with songwriters like Joe Rapsio, Sesame Street made us think, especially about what kind of people we wanted to be. Green's the color of spring, and green can be cool and friendly like, and green can be like big like an ocean, or important like a mountain, or tall like a tree. Through song, the whole world heard that green and all of us can be anything. Isn't it beautiful to see the world like that? In fact, Kermit's humor never came from making fun of people. It came from bringing us together. By focusing on the dream, I am so sorry today, guys. By focusing on the good in everyone, my own sense of wonder took over, and my dream of entertaining others came true. The Muppets and I went on a new adventures and got to bring along some favorite old friends. It's the Muppet Show with our very special guest star, Edgar Bergen. Every week on the Muppet Show, frogs, pigs, bears, and creatures of all kinds reminded the world that despite of all the chaos, sorry about that, folks. So as I was saying, on the Muppet Show and on Sesame Street, I wanted our audiences to know that despite all the chaos and despite our differences, there is nothing more fun than being together. From there, I never stopped creating and dreaming. In fact, the more we performed, thank you, and thank you. Oh boy, what a crowd. I don't approve of belly dancers. Why can't they dance on the floor like everyone else? Oh, waka waka. Good grief, the comedian's a bear. Fozzie the bear. All right, let's see if I can do this. Kermit. Miss Piggy. The chickens. I don't know the chicken's name. There's Animal and Wolf. And there's Fozzie and Gonzo and Beaker and the Swedish Chef. And that's all I can name. The more fun we had, and the more my dreams grew, bringing millions of people together. What can possibly be more magical than that? Life's like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep believing, keep pretending. We've done just what we set out to do, thanks to the lovers, the dreamers, and you. In my life, I love to create. But the secret behind my best creation wasn't a strong hand or a catchy song or even a funny voice. It was a simple idea. There is good in all of us. Sure, we're all different. Some of us have beards and no hair or blue fur or green flippers, but goodness lives in each of us. That's an idea that should never get old. Believe in the good of the world. Create something new, share what you love, and find others who believe in those favorite things you dream about, together. We can make magic. Today, Sesame Street is watched by millions of kids in more than 150 countries worldwide, from Brooklyn to Bangladesh. At its peak, The Muppet Show was watched by over 235 million people per week. Did you know he even started the Jim Henson Foundation to promote and develop the art of puppetry? I think that's the secret. As long as there are new dreamers, new people who love to entertain and pretend, this is a story that never ends. Guess what? I want to create cool things just like you. Gee, thank you so much. Don't let that stop you. All right, let's see if we can recognize all the different things that he's done. All right, so the Dark Crystal, there's Kermit, the Labyrinth, the Storyteller, there's Bert and Ernie, Emmett Otterton and the Jug Band, Christmas, there's the Fraggles from Fraggle Rock, it starts when we're kids. That's when we learn some of the best things in life. Laughing, sharing, imagining, dreaming, creating. Never stop doing them and never stop being kind. There's nothing wrong with being a do-gooder. I am Jim Henson, and I will keep believing and keep pretending. All right, guys, that is the end of I Am Jim Henson. We'll see everybody again tomorrow for another fun book. I hope everyone's doing great. We love you. We miss you. We'll see you soon. May the force be with you. Bye.